debating sports, talking about the craziness in the world, and just living life mostly. This is the show, CommenTerry, with your host, me, Terry J. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you're having a good time wherever you are listening to this episode of CommenTerry. I'm Terry J. Before I even get into my reactions to Super Bowl 55, I feel like, sadly enough, I still have to say this because, I don't know, most of us, I feel like, have forgotten we're still in this such thing called a pandemic. People aren't wearing masks out in public. And I go to say this. I have a friend. I talked to him the other day and he seemed to be going through it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Right? He said, I got COVID-19. And I'm like, wow, how? Like, he's super careful. He always wears a mask and he's a super germaphobe. So I know everything's wiped down. Before a pandemic was happening, when I worked with him, he had Clorox wipes in the office. He was wiping door handles, doorknobs. He was wiping down computer laptops, keyboards, everything, you know? So I talked to him. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I know when I got it. And I'm like, well, what happened? How'd you get it? He said he was at the grocery store. The guy who was in line with him was not wearing a mask and did one of those sneeze coughs on him. Now, that got me very upset. Because I don't care if you don't believe in the pandemic. I don't care if you don't believe in COVID-19. I mean, hey, maybe all these record amount of deaths that happen, not just in the country, but around the world, maybe that's not enough for you to believe that we have a pandemic. Because there's still people, believe it or not, there's still people out there that just don't believe that COVID-19 is real. Maybe it hasn't impacted their circle, but COVID-19 has impacted quite a few families, and quite a few is super an understatement. So he said, yeah, he's in the grocery store getting ready to check out, and the guy's behind him, no mask on, does a cough sneeze on him. At that point, I feel like that's fighting. Like, I can't say my true reaction, but I feel like that's a fight. You got to get your ass whooped at that point. You're in a store, selfishly enough, with no mask on, and you cough and sneeze on me. Like, I feel like there should be a lawsuit for that. In 2021, there should be a lawsuit that if you are in a public place with no mask on, you should get fined. Until all this is squared away, until vaccines are like coming out and everything's happening, you should get fined if you're in a public place and you don't have a mask. At very least, you should get your ass whooped if you cough and sneeze in the vicinity of somebody who's wearing a mask. You just gotta take your L. You just gotta get beat. So, he's describing to me what he's going through. He can't taste things, like he's getting horrible headaches. It's hard for him to breathe. I'm feeling bad for him because when you do what you're supposed to do, hopefully, you're supposed to safeguard against these things. And then you have people with negligence who are not wearing a mask out in public, just out and about, going about their free life, and they don't give a damn. And innocent people get COVID-19. I say that to say this. I will definitely be interested to see the COVID projections after the impact of the Super Bowl. I mean, I read reports, maskless party goers, crowds in streets of Tampa ahead of the Super Bowl. And I mean, looking at the pictures, I mean, it was packed full of people. Like, it was popping in Tampa. I mean, you couldn't tell them the clubs weren't about to be jumping for the Super Bowl. And I mean, these pictures, I mean, they are shoulder to shoulder, no mask, in their best club outfits, getting ready to throw down in Tampa, Florida, of all places. Florida. Just going to say that just so you could think about it. Florida. Of all the places, you knew it was going to go down in Florida. So, all the COVID restrictions, Florida said, what pandemic, right? And then to make matters worse, as the NFL is thanking all of its essential workers and people who are on the front lines, dedicating their lives day in and day out to the cause to fight COVID-19, you get a pan of the crowd that is in the stadium for the Super Bowl. And I knew I wasn't the only one. I went to Twitter and packed, the word packed, PACKED, was trending. I tweeted it. I thought I was crazy. I was like, is it me or does that stadium look packed? And then, of course, other people chiming in. One person tweeted out, my mama said there must not be COVID-19 in Tampa Bay because I need to move there because the stadium looked packed. And I think NFL got a whiff of what social media was talking about because for the rest of the game, and I do mean for the rest of the game, you didn't see any crowd shots unless it dealt with some type of sponsorship. They were like, you know what? Let's not show the crowd anymore. But I digress. The beginning of the Super Bowl had a hell of a kickoff. And I was very proud of the NFL for finally coming to terms with life. Her did an amazing job. And if you've never heard her music, she's amazing. If you go to look her up, because I'm sure you go to your phone and type in her, which at this point should be simple if you don't use the periods, but H.E.R. That's her. She's an amazing R&B and just a songstress. She's amazing. I actually had a chance to interview her when I was in my radio days. Beautiful soul. She sung America the Beautiful, followed by Eric Church, who joined Jasmine Sullivan, which was an amazing duo right there. They sang the national anthem. And then the young poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, is just simply amazing. Her words, like, she is making poetry cool in 2021. She's doing her thing. Young black sister doing her thing. And yeah, I'm like, okay, I see you, NFL, trying to do your thing for the Super Bowl, kicking it off. And then how fitting was it for the game to get kicked off and the first touchdown to be scored was between Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. And instantly I had to think to myself, how sick are you? I know you're celebrating Tom Brady and all of his accomplishments if you're the Patriots because you've had him for so long. But how sad does that make you to see your dynamic duo of Tom Brady and his road buddy, Rob Gronkowski, who came out of retirement for Tom, to catching TDs again in the Super Bowl, but not in the Patriots jersey?
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are going to be okay.
Man, the game itself to me, and this is why I'm not a betting man, because you know what? Under healthy circumstances, and I'm not making excuses because it's supposed to be the next man up mentality, but it is the Super Bowl, right? I really thought the Chiefs were going to win. I thought if it was, well, here's the thing. I didn't think they were going to 100% win. I didn't think it was a game over situation, but I thought if it was going to turn into a shootout, Mahomes would have the better of it. I didn't expect the type of game that I saw. But the Buccaneers were prepared, which I have a question for you later on in the show that I'm going to ask you, and I would definitely want your thoughts. But just looking at the stats and how everything went, it was not a good day for the Chiefs overall, especially for one Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes hadn't been beat like this since like his college days. But just looking at it, man, Patrick Mahomes he was 26 of 49 for 270 yards and 2 interceptions. He got pressured 29 times, which is the most in a NFL Super Bowl. Every time Patrick Mahomes said hike, he was like, oh my God, I gotta run. He was sprinting. He was moving. My man was, he had wheels on, and you could tell he was going through. By the fourth quarter, you could tell he was hurt because the defense was getting after him. And Tom Brady was Tom Brady. 21 of 29 passes, 201 yards with 3 touchdowns. He didn't have to blow you away with a 350 plus throwing yard game. Tom Brady had to just be the 43-year-old Tom Brady. All he had to do was manage the game. Weather the storm, manage the game. That's all he had to do. And which, when it comes down to it, shout out to Travis Kelce. He tried, but they had the offense saran wrapped. The defense, the Buccaneers were not playing. Let me tell you something. Devin White is going to be mark my words, he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. That linebacker right there, he's got some speed. He shut down some plays where Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked like he was going to break free. White said, I ain't having that. That Buccaneers defense came to play. And matter of fact, they gave up no big yards pretty much that whole game. That whole game, they said, we're going to keep everything in front of us. If you want to beat us, you're going to have to beat us in slant routes. You're going to have to beat us in runs. You're going to have to beat us other than Tyreek Hill scorching us down the field. And they did their job. They came in with a game plan, executed, and got the job done. And boy, Leonard Fournette, I mean, he was running pretty damn, that's a big dude. That you don't realize how big that guy is until you see a whole team trying to tackle one man to bring him down. But man, Rob Gronkowski, man, every time he scored a touchdown, it just made me smile. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski is just legendary. They're like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together, right? They just go together. Two future Hall of Famers. I feel like they have to, it probably won't happen, but they have to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at the same time. I would love for them to like retire and then just be inducted at the same time. They just have to, right? It's only right. My question to you, if Tom Brady was with the Patriots this year, instead of with the Buccaneers, would he have made it to the Super Bowl? And would he have won the Super Bowl? What's your thoughts on that? I think Tom Brady made the perfect decision in leaving the Patriots. And of course, in hindsight, looking at it now, it was the right choice to go to Tampa Bay. I don't think I've ever seen a team that Tom Brady's been on this complete. I mean, he has a great defense, and the amount of weapons he has on offense is absurd, which makes it tailor-made for his game at the age in which he is. I'm not saying like Tom Brady is the GOAT, obviously, but as you get older, you just want things to be made simpler, easier for you in life, right? You don't want to have to do as much. You know that as far as mental goes, Tom Brady's top notch. And he can still throw the ball. He doesn't have to fling it 90 yards deep. He doesn't have to flick the ball 90 yards deep, but, he knows how to get the ball where it needs to go, right? And he can tell people where they need to be to make the right plays. And so my question is, if he was in the Patriots uniform this year, would he have made it to the Super Bowl? And think about the road that Tom Brady had to get through just to make it to the Super Bowl. He beat Breeze. He beat Rodgers. And to win it, he beat Mahomes. That's a hell of a rod. That's like, if you're playing a video game, you've beaten two epic bosses to only beat the final boss. Like, Tom Brady is that dude, right? Shout out to Tom Brady. Ring number 7? He has surpassed Michael Jordan with the amount of rings. I think I read somewhere that Michael Jordan's looking to come out of retirement and win him another ring. That's how competitive MJ is. Please don't. Please don't. It's over. But man, also too, if you're Tom Brady, how many years do you think you can actually do this now? Looking at the team. And of course, after Super Bowls, teams kind of, they definitely go through changes because you've hit the pinnacle. You've won the Super Bowl. Now it's time to get the money. And hopefully you can keep around your core group of guys on offense and defense for a little while. How far do you think Tom Brady do you think he could win another one next year? Because this was year 1. Think about it. This was year 1 for Tom Brady with Tampa Bay. They're only going to gain more chemistry after here. I'm not going to say it's going to get easier, but it is Tom Brady. You still have Antonio Brown, Godwin, Evans. Like, you got a backfield. I mean, how many more years of Tom Brady does the NFL team? Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than most franchises. Think about that. It's crazy, man. I don't want to spend all of my time talking about the Super Bowl and Tom Brady and his greatness, even though well-deserved, very, very much so well-deserved. I do want to say shout out to Sarah Thomas, the first female referee at the Super Bowl. That was pretty dope. Also, in some other news outside of the Super Bowl, there was the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame that was announced, which headlined by Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, also joining them for the Hall of Fame class of 2021 that was revealed at the NFL Honors. You got Drew Pearson, Alan Faneca, Bill Nunn, John Lynch, and Tom Flores. Tom Flores was the first minority coach to win a Super Bowl. So that's your Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2021. Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson headlining. That's a good little roster of people right there. Like, shout out to them, man. Peyton Manning, the general. That man right there was amazing, calling plays at the line of scrimmage. And of course, yes, there was the other honors of Offensive Player of the Year, Derrick Henry, running back for the Tennessee Titans. He had 2,027 rushing yards in his fifth highest single season total of NFL history. That's crazy, man. Also, Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers taking home another MVP award. I mean, he's racking them up. If only he could just win another Super Bowl. Do you think, another question for you to answer, do you think that Aaron Rodgers will win another Super Bowl before it's time for him to hang up the jersey? That's a good question. What's your thoughts on that? Will Aaron Rodgers win another Super Bowl before it's time for him to retire? What's your thoughts on that? Or should Aaron Rodgers pull a Tom Brady and look at the most best fit team for him to go to and just say, you know what? Deuces, I'm out. Just questions. I mean, honestly, he's not going to catch, unless he goes on a hell of a win streak from now until 2028. He's not going to catch Tom Brady with rings. So should he just be happy with where he's at and retire a Packers? Just questions. I got him. Of course, and then Justin Jefferson came up just shy behind Herbert for winning Rookie of the Year. Justin Herbert, who had an amazing rookie quarterbacking year himself. So shout out to all the winners over there. That was for the NFL honors. I'm not going through the whole list. You can look that up. But yeah, what else was happening outside of the Super Bowl. Moving along, let's take it over to the NBA real quick. I don't want to spend too much time in the NBA because, the Super Bowl was the biggest thing happening over the weekend. But Derrick Rose being traded from Detroit to New York. Does that make sense? You got some young guards already who's trying to do their thing with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, and you know what? Let me look it up right now. The New York Knicks, what is their record right now? The New York Knicks currently are 8th in the East. They are 11-14. I couldn't tell you the last time I remember the Knicks being in the 8th spot, but they're having a pretty decent year thinking about the past years they've had, being honest. And so just adding, I think Derrick Rose, Tom Thibodeau is the coach of the Knicks, if you didn't know. He also coached Derrick Rose with the Chicago Bulls. He also coached Derrick Rose with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think you see the pattern. I think he really loves Derrick Rose. But what are you getting out of Derrick Rose now? I think Derrick Rose is going to bring leadership. I think Derrick Rose is going to show those young guys how to be professionals in the NBA and how to maybe not make some of the mistakes he made and how to learn the game, which is great for the young guys. But for Derrick Rose, sadly enough, I would have wanted to see Derrick Rose on a team that's going to be competing for a championship. And I know if you're a New York Knicks fan, you're like, that's disrespectful. Let's be real. The Knicks are not going to win a championship this year. Probably not the next 2 or 3 years, unless something like that team just goes on one of those astronomical, if you bet on the Knicks to win a championship, you gonna win an absurd amount of money because no one else has the Knicks winning a championship. But they're on their way to turning things around, and as an organization, especially one as rich as the Knicks, that's what you want to see. You want to see your organization on the upside. So therefore, Derrick Rose as a New York Knick, right now, it makes sense and it doesn't make sense to me. I would love to see Derrick Rose trying to compete at the highest level to win a championship, especially at this point in his career. He's earned it. I wouldn't be mad if he had went to the Lakers. I was expecting him to go to the Lakers or the Clippers. Because you're somebody competitive. And no, I'm just talking out of my head right now. For all you statisticians and all you people who crunch numbers, that's like, it doesn't make sense because they don't have enough money, the cap, and cool. I'm just talking. I'm just saying, you know, what Derrick Rose deserves is what I'm saying. All right. Also, too, the trade deadline is going to be coming up soon. And who are some people that you would love to see traded from a team? As a Pelicans fan, I'm on the fence now. Lonzo Ball for the last 6 games has been balling. And he's averaging 17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Like, dude I think he's found his way. I think he's found his path in the team. Because in the beginning of the season, I was like, yo, we got to get rid of Lonzo. Like, I support Lonzo, but then at the same time, I don't have time to wait for him to grow. I need him to turn into Jason Kidd is what I need him to do. But it seems like he's doing that now. I just hope we haven't burned the bridge and it's like, we're still trading you. Because I think Lonzo's coming around. His brother LaMelo is hooping. We're definitely going to get into some more NBA talk, though. We're definitely going to get into more NBA talk now that, we've wrapped a bow on the 2020-2021 NFL season. What's to come? What is to come in the NFL? Because, people are already looking at, I think I saw somewhere where, the Carolina Panthers, they're looking to trade. They actually were in the sweepstakes to try to get Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions before the Detroit Lions made the trade with the LA Rams. They wanted to send Bridgewater, some future first round picks and things of that nature up there to Detroit to get Matthew Stafford. So if I'm Bridgewater, because you may want to treat this year like another, like your contract's on the line. Because if they were looking to trade you, chances are they don't think you're their quarterback. And so, and speaking of quarterbacks, Houston, I think what's up with Houston, man? Are the Texans going the route that the Rockets went with James Harden? Are they really going to tell teams that they're not interested in trading them? I don't know, man. Deshaun, what's good? Where do you want to go? Where would you like to see Deshaun end up? All these questions, all these things that I've asked you, you can hit me up on social media, all of my platforms at Terry J on air, TerryJonair. Again, TerryJonair. And let me know your thoughts. Hashtag commentary. And I have some great questions. Okay, these questions, just in case you weren't paying attention. This year, if Tom Brady would have been in a Patriots uniform, would he have won the Super Bowl? Would he have made it to the Super Bowl, and would he have won it? That's question number 1. Question number 2 was Aaron Rodgers. Do you think he will win a championship before it's time for him to retire? Will Aaron Rodgers win another championship before it's time to retire? Now, last question, I just forgot it, so I hope you're paying attention. All right, that's going to do it for commentary. Thank you for rocking with me. Be blessed. Love you guys, man. And until next time, peace.